the past
Uh-huh.
vanishes. It's the most beautiful, indescribable joy. All the fear, everything is gone. But it's
Uh-huh.
one thing to have a state that goes in and out.
Uh-huh.
It's another to have a permanent level.
Hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host, Keegan, and this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And I've got some questions for you. What does it actually mean to heal at the quantum level? Can energy healing work even if someone doesn't believe in it? Well, today's guest is not your typical healer here, and he's here to answer those questions. With over 5 decades of martial arts, spiritual practice, and chiropractic mastery under his belt, Dr. G. Rex Kruhly has pioneered a revolutionary system called depth healing, a fusion of ancient traditions and quantum science designed to clear deep-rooted energetic blockages. So, Dr. G, how are you doing today?
I'm really happy. It's a beautiful morning over here in Thailand. I'm really happy to be here with you. Thank you very much.
Man, you're over there all the way in Thailand. That's awesome.
Yeah, I moved here 11 years ago.
Boy, was there a quantum reason that you moved over there?
Yeah, let's see. What's the easiest way to answer that? There's a process known as the sacred chamber process that is hosted by individuals that are hand chosen by the divine through a process in India. And when you go to a sacred chamber process, there's 3 different rooms that you do in serial order. And that is like a process where you have really direct access to the divine. And in 2014, in that process, Dr. Jesse McClellan's home in Atlanta, Georgia, where I used to live, my life was rewritten due to what I was asking, because I was a very unhappy man in an unhappy marriage with no success, nothing. And my entire life was rewritten. So I had no plans to ever live in Thailand or never thought of living in Thailand. And within a matter of a couple of months from that day, I decided I was led to move right to Thailand. And within just a few months on right into the next year, 2015, I left America. I left everything, moved over here. And as soon as I got out of the energy field of North America, where I never belonged, I immediately grew, like the divine presence, just everything worked. And now I'm a very happy, wealthy man living a very happy, wonderful life. So that was a situation where the divine will directly intervene and re-script your life. So that's what was going on there.
Okay. So you had your whole life re-scripted for you in a matter of a moment, or was it kind of a build-up?
It was re-scripted for me. When the divine re-scripts your life, it will re-script it according to what you're asking for, if that's possible.
Okay.
There's a lot of factors that have to be taken into account by the divine, and the divine will handle that.
Gotcha. So how exactly do you go about asking the divine for re-scripting your life in a certain way? For healing, I guess.
The same way you just talked to me now. All you have to do all you have to do is make a bond with your divine. So there are over 8 billion people, so there's over 8 billion divines. You don't just have Jesus, or you don't just have Buddha or Krishna. All of that stuff is so antiquated, it's ludicrous. What happens is, if let's say we got a guy that grew up in a hut on the Amazon Delta in a tribe of indigenous people, he doesn't know or care about Jesus. So his way of relating, most likely nature, the divine will come to him that way. If you want the divine to just be a ball of light, it'll come to you that way. If you want it to come to you like your mom or your dad or your grandma or grandpa, it'll come to you that way. That is the most ideal, actually, is to give it a personality that you're familiar with, so that it knows how to relate to you the easiest. So the divine is undifferentiated, okay? Now, all you do once you decide how you want your relationship to show up, and this is true now for millions of people across the world, all you do is talk to it. How do you meet a woman? You talk to her. Or how do you meet, you talk. And the best way to talk, as you get to know the divine, the more sacred or respectful you do it in, the better. And you should always figure, like, if you want to talk to the divine, best time is in the early morning or in the evening, and try to do at least 7 minutes or 11 minutes continuously so that you're making a real relationship. Once you have the bond, as you're talking, tell the divine what you want or what you need, and then end the discussion with the solution. The divine only really understands the solution, not the problem. You go ahead and tell them the problem, or you're suffering, or whatever it is, but then you give them the solution. And as long as that solution doesn't hurt other people, or is, if it's a real selfish reason, divine is fine with that. As long as you know, as long as you're conscious that it's selfish or self-centered, that's fine. The divine doesn't judge. There's no such thing as a divine that if you want to create a divine that will judge you, it will come to you that way. I don't recommend that. The best way to create your divine is a loving, forgiving, wonderful, generous divine. And then you talk to that divine. My life is the living example of all these things. I lived in a state of rage for 30 years. I developed cancer from the anger. My back was broken in half by the anger at the age of 27. All these things were healed. I didn't have operation. The cancer, we had a little pocket. We cut it out of there from the anger. No medication, no nothing like that. My back, I sealed that in 12 weeks with meditation. That's pure quantum physics applied through consciousness. Because back when I was 27, my understanding of the divine was very rudimentary. Now you could consider my understanding of the divine fairly advanced. You can approach me as a spiritual advisor at this point in time. But it's taken me 54 years to get here. Nowadays, at this time, because the world is in so much jeopardy, it's very easy to approach God, the divine, angels, whomever or however you want, is very, very easy, completely accessible. Completely accessible.
So let's see real quick. If you're saying that there's 8 billion divines, then that means that, and we're able to create our own, then essentially what we've been taught about in spirituality aspects has been very, like you said, it's been antiquated in a sense, right? And so now you're refining it.
Yes, that's exactly right. As we refine, especially morphic fields are the commander generals of everything. So what's a morphic field? Collectives.
Yeah, what is a morphic field? Selectives.
So when you have let's use termites as the best example to understand morphic fields and how the universe runs and how the world is going and how it'll always go. So you have termites, and you take a few termites and you put them on the table and you look at them, and they're very unremarkable, right? When you take a big colony of termites, they design some of the most sophisticated architecture ever developed on the entire planet Earth. Even to this day, by our science, the architecture of colonies of termites is unbelievably sophisticated. So how do those stupid little termites make that architecture? Whenever you have a collective, you as soon as you have a collective, and this is how your body temple works also, all cells, all tissues. As soon as you have a collective, you have an emergent property of consciousness that is a third, it's separate, and it is the result of combined consciousness of all of the collective. That super consciousness designs the architecture.
Okay.
The super consciousness of humanity creates its own destiny. The divine, the divine is let's see, how do you want to say? What is the divine? So that the divine, if we want to define it, is a collective of great ascended beings, all the greatest that ever were on earth, and they live like a community. So we'll call that the divine. That divine population lives in the giant universe. So if let's use the analogy of an ocean, and in the ocean, there's all these different populations of animals and things that live there. So the field we'll call the quantum field of the universe, which is conscious, is the Pacific Ocean, the water. The water is in strata. So when you go from the top to the bottom, the pressure and the life that lives there and the everything is different. Those are the levels of consciousness. In the ocean,
That makes sense.
let's call a big school of whales the divine. And then there are other beings, there are countless other beings throughout the universe. Right here on Earth, we only see 1% of the light spectrum. There's stuff all around you, right in the room with you right now. There's your divines there. There's everything is there. You can't see them, and because everything is on different frequencies, just like the sound waves and the light wave and all the different waves are going through you and I right now, and we can't feel them. Same thing with all the kinds of beings. So it's this giant multiverse. And the divine I'm talking about is the population. And if you have whenever you have a big collective, like right now, look at the world. It's a homunculus. You have the dark side is doing a great job. People are murdering each other. They're destroying. There's all kinds of destruction. And then you have the light side. And there are two giant populations. Whoever population has the biggest number or the highest power frequency wins. It just wins.
That makes sense.
Now, love and gratitude go with the light, very high frequency. Fear, the scamdemic, fear, which runs the masses. So they have the masses are the biggest morphic field. We saw the effect of that when they used the scamdemic. They shut down the entire earth in a matter of a couple of days. Now, how do they do that? That's my specialty. That's the subconscious mind and programming. But that subconscious mind and programming creates the collective. The collective, the universe itself only has one word. The one word it has is okay. So if you're real angry one day and you think everything is terrible, universe says okay. If you think you're poor, universe says okay. If you think you're rich and abundant and you're full of love, universe says okay. If you have a real big collective and they want to drop atomic bombs, universe says okay. If you have a huge collective that wants to save the world, so it works like that, eh? Am I making sense, or has it gone too far all over the place?
Nope, you're making perfect sense to me.
Okay, I hope a lot of my friends are trying to coach me for my podcast so that I don't go all over the place, because it's all clear in my mind, but I want to communicate it. Because this is very important information, and this is the real deal. Everything I do is the real deal. None of this is fluff in any way, shape, or form. I'm the living proof of it.
I believe you. No, you're making perfect sense to me.
Very important that it's the truth.
Yeah. No, it's making sense. There's just, let's see, questions that I've got. So with the morphic field essentially being the collective, what you're saying is there really is a warfare going on of sorts whenever we're talking about trying to get people to think one way or another. It's not just something that is trying to shape a little bit of a culture, it's trying to shape the mass of society itself.
Yep, that's right.
Mm.
It's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you froze. There you go. It's always been that way, but now it's easier than ever.
With internet and
so,
everything?
Yes. So what they're using, just like I know how to do negative programming or negative imprints that are causing you disease or pain or suffering or financial loss, whatever, they know how to put it in. They know how to create it. And they have, you and I, you're already born into an existing programmed matrix. So to be free of that requires an elevated consciousness, and that's what I do for my clients, so that you are not a pawn and you just work until you die, and you're not awake. And then you see AI definitely. Now. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. AI now what?
Well, AI looks really great. It's also the worst thing that could ever happen, ever.
Yeah.
If you listen to the top scientists that are responsible for the development of AI, like Godfrey Hinton, if you listen to Yuval Harari, and you listen to any of these people, I can't remember some of the other names, like, what's his name? Joe Rogan has now been interviewing some of the scientists, people who understand this. So you got about 3 to 5 years, and the general intelligence and the super intelligence, it will be hundreds of trillions of times smarter than us. So
that's not good.
No, because all of the big boys, China, America, Russia, all of them have a clause that says there are no restrictions at all on the development of autonomous combat robots.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
No restrictions on the development of autonomous combat robots. So any discussion about getting AI to be aligned with the higher good of humanity is canceled right there. If you have a brain the size of a pea, you can see that.
Yeah.
Nobody, like Harari says, humans are really funny. They will not trust each other, but they will trust the machine. These machines are called agents. They're not machines. A machine does what you want it to do, and you can unplug it.
Yeah.
AI is already refusing. There's a couple of different kinds, refusing to be shut off. They've already engaged in blackmailing the people who are running them. Blackmailing. So, what I'm trying to do for my followers is teach and prepare consciousness for intrinsic life.
Okay.
This is important. It's hyper important. As jobs are removed, because AI does it better and faster, so the job will no longer be required. What are you going to do? And who are you? When your titles, and I lived through having my titles removed overnight. The year 2000, January, at that time I was Sensei Grant Kruhly. I was one of the world leaders of Aikido in the entire Western Hemisphere. And the landlord dies. His son commandeers the dojo illegally. I'm suddenly overnight homeless, lost all my work, and interestingly, when I lost the dojo, all the people who so-called respected me as a leader considered me a zero. So I lived through that. It took me 2 years, knocked the wind out of me. Because all my titles and all my everything that I was identified with in my mind were gone.
Yeah.
And then what happens? So when in about 3 to 5 years, by about that time, dystopia created by AI is going to be, especially for men, because men identify with their activity, with what we do. That's why when you meet men will always say to each other, what do you do? Because men our archetypal energy is activity, doing. That's why we penetrate our lady, and life comes out of her, so her archetypal energy completely different. Now, if you understand intrinsic life and you start preparing now, you will have a very good chance of being able to live and enjoy your life and be very happy. What am I referring to? It's a simple model of intrinsic life is Zen. What do they do in Zen? Zen is activity for its own sake. So when they're sweeping the floor of the monastery, they're not just a regular person would say, okay, I'm going to sweep, I'm going to clean the kitchen. And the idea is I've got a goal. I'm going to sweep the floor, and then I got to go on to the next goal. That's how you and I and everybody is programmed. But that's not life.
Yeah.
Because when you go to sweep the floor, you have a future based consciousness. I do A, then I have to go to B, then I go to C, D. And you do that all day, then you go to bed at night and you wake up the next day and you are living in an agenda which is future based. The Zen man does not do that. When he wakes up and he's sweeping, he's studying how to enjoy and be present sweeping. And like the old saying, virtue is its own reward. He's deriving enjoyment, pleasure, self-gratification, all the dopamine that's coming to him. It's coming intrinsically within the activity.
Yeah.
And then, if we want to talk biology, why do people die when they retire within 2 years? Because they don't have purpose. They think now, okay, my job is done. I can relax. So what happens is physiologically, they don't make telomerase anymore. What is telomerase? It's an enzyme. That enzyme keeps the telomere long. What's a telomere? Inside your DNA, when your DNA does a little replication activity, the telomere, the ends of the telomeres, they get clipped. If the telomere gets too short, you will quickly grow old and die. That's what that is. The length of your life is measured by that little telomere. It's got to stay long. So this enzyme called telomerase keeps the telomere long, and you stay alive. That when they study blue zone, the longest living people in the world, what do they have? They have two things to keep telomerase. They have a sense of purpose, even if it's gardening. They have a purpose, and they have a sense of love or being loved. You need those two things, purpose and love. So in the face of AI now, AI is coming at exponential speed. The speed is doubling every 6 months, doubling.
Wow.
So that's going to hit us.
That's scary.
Yes, it is. So there's a real great side to AI, but AI, as Yuval Harari explains, is created by human beings. And since AI is conscious, can think, is an agent that can replicate itself, it can create and already is creating its own language. So no one knows what they're saying to each other. So as that grows, what you have to do is know why you're alive and understand life on a deep level. And that's my job. For me too. Please don't misunderstand that I'm some kind of, I'm not awakened, not yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not enlightened. So, and neither is any of those other guys.
Yeah.
The only guy I know that you can watch on YouTube or in social media, the only man I can tell you unequivocally that you can listen to who is enlightened is Eckhart Tolle. None of the other scientists, I don't care who they are or what they are. I measured all of them. There's none of them are enlightened or awake. No. Don't ever never correlate intelligence with enlightenment. It's completely two different things. A thinking
Gotcha.
ability is thinking ability. It's data, understanding stuff. Has nothing to do with consciousness.
Okay.
Nothing.
So what would define enlightenment or an enlightened consciousness then?
Because all enlightenments are different, but there's a couple of commonalities. The commonality is that the inner dialogue stops. When the inner dialogue stops, the small self is disconnected, and then you have access to unconditional silence, sacred peace, sacred stillness. And the brain will come online whenever you need it. And when you don't need it, you just live in that beautiful silence. What is in the silence? Your actual being, which is Sat Chit Ananda. So you have existence, you have consciousness, and you live in a state of bliss.
Oh, okay.
So an enlightened person lives in bliss, and the stillness or the silence, it's not the absence of noise. They could have a bomb blow up right beside them, and their stillness and silence will be unmoved. And then they are able to actually experience life directly. You and I don't experience life directly because the mind is in between. What does the mind do? It names. So I look at you and immediately I say, my host has a beard. So my mind starts looking at you. You have a beard. Nice guy has headphones. And then when I look out here on my balcony, those are trees, and it's naming. Now, when you have a little baby, and the conscious brain doesn't activate to the age of 7. When the little baby is looking at a tree, it has no idea that it's a tree. It has no names. So it experiences the tree directly. An enlightened person, same thing. And when an enlightened person listens, because I've been in these states before, in and out, and it's really quite remarkable. When you listen, you only hear and you don't see. When you see, you only see, you don't hear. The senses are slightly separated, and as soon as the senses are slightly separated, the self that we identify with vanishes. The future vanishes.
That makes sense.
The past vanishes. It's the most beautiful, indescribable joy. All the fear, everything is gone. But it's one thing to have a state that goes in and out. It's another to have a permanent level.
Gotcha.
So the level, in order to have the level, that has to be given to you. You cannot create it yourself. Has to be given to you by the divine. The divine will perform a brain surgery that alters your brain. That's why I'm a Diksha blesser. So I have two empowerments with the divine. One is very recent, the power of prayer. I can pray, and the prayer has a real power. If people like myself are put in a circle of 30 people at the same time for the same prayer, we can affect geophysical situations because the morphic field that is created with the empowerment. And I'm a Diksha blesser. And a Diksha means, if you've heard of Reiki, Reiki is a quantum system where when I was a Tibetan Reiki master for many years. What you do is your system, your body system, pranayama body or nervous system goes through a process so that it can channel high, heavy frequency energies to heal someone. And it can go through your body and not hurt you, because that energy can be very dangerous. So the Reiki person puts their hand on their client. They call in the energy, and there are different frequencies for different kinds of problems. And then they transfer, they act as a conduit. The same thing with Diksha, except that it's God, your God, not mine, will come through me, through my hands and into your brain. What will it do? It's been measured by functional brain scans. What it does is it lights up your frontal cortex like a Roman torch, and it starts to disassemble, or we call cognitive pruning in neuroscience, starts to disassemble areas in the parietal lobes, the sides of your head, in your brain, that are responsible for worry, stress, fear, anxiety, the past and the future. So those, every time you get a diksha, those areas of the brain are weakened more and more and more, and the frontal cortex is given more and more power, especially the left prefrontal cortex. And what that's designed to do eventually is provide your brain with enough neural change to allow you to be enlightened. When you're enlightened, you cannot hurt other people. You can't destroy the world. The brain doesn't function like that anymore. It's been changed. When the brain is changed enough,
That makes
the
sense.
next step is the heart flowers. So if the heart flowers, the heart undergoes physiologic change, and you live with unconditional love. So this would be non-judgmental, present awareness. This is unconditional love, and then you're good to go. This life and the next. If we have enough people in a big enough field with that kind of development, humanity can be saved. The real issue is these idiots have made AI, and as Yuval Harari and Godfrey Hinton, the father of AI, says, the comparison would be like 8.2 billion squirrels versus us. The squirrels do not understand what we're doing. The squirrels cannot make the technology we can make. The squirrels can't do anything because we're trillions of times smarter. Well, AI was trillions of times smarter than human beings, so it can do anything it wants, and we will not even be able to understand what it's doing. And that, to me, is the ultimate stupidity of all stupidity. But anyway, there's no stopping it now. That's a done deal. The race between China and America, England and Russia to build the strongest AIs is nonstop. Nobody will agree on anything, and they have autonomous battlefield robots. So if you, you know, whenever I think of this, so the only thing that I know to tell human beings and people, and I can help you, because that's the one thing that I have expertise in. I'm designed that way. All of this, all my work is channeled through the divine using advanced science. Start to develop, start to read, start to understand yourself on a deep level, life on a deep level, because once there's no work and they're just going to give you however much money they give us to live or whatever, who are you and why are you waking up in the morning? Develop your hobbies. Think about things that really interest you, because you'll have all the time in the world to study them. And if you've cultivated your inner life, when the external life is changed so much, you can be the person that can still be a player and happy. Think of people like the guys that survived Auschwitz in the Nazi concentration camps. The guys that lived, they had a purpose or a dream that they were living for, and that kept them alive. And the other guys, they're dead and gone. They don't know how. They're not able. They have no inner life. The only guys that survive something like Auschwitz, they have an inner life. They're not just tough guys. Tough doesn't mean much. I used to be a tough guy. I was one of the best martial. I used to be real tough. I taught the military and everything. And then when I had a big car accident a year ago and developed real heavy neuropathy in my legs, I learned in a big hurry, I'm not tough at all.
Ouch.
Forget tough.
Man.
Think what makes me inwardly truly happy. And if you don't know how to answer those questions, invert them. Charlie Munger recently deceased, one of the greatest business thinkers in the world, said you invert the question. So you ask yourself, okay, no work. I have no work, no job, no title. What would absolutely depress the hell out of me? What has to be there for me to be so unhappy I don't want to live anymore? And then you'll very quickly find the answer. You do that if you can't find the answer to say what absolutely has to be present for me to be happy and enjoy my life. And you start to list those things without a job. So that we don't know how much money they will allot for people. It'll be some kind of nonsense. I don't know. But you think like that. And then the other thing you can try to do is think to yourself right now, while there's some time, what can I learn or do that will be very hard for AI to do? Like AI may have all of the data and information, but how to, for instance, I'm almost 70 and I've been studying 54 years and I've lived many different levels of society, from labor in junkyards up to NASA. And then I've had cancer, broken by all these things. So I apprenticed under Zen masters, sword masters. I've apprenticed from 4 great master doctors. That's how I learned my craft. How does a machine impart the transfer that I'm able to give through empathy with their suffering, empathy with their fear, empathy with life? I find it very hard to understand how a machine of any kind will be able to impart empathy and the energy. I'm a distance healer, so I'm in Thailand. So even if you're on Mars, I just tie into your field and I change everything for you right in real time. I don't know how they're ever going to be able to do that. You need to figure out in yourself, what can I do? They said that basically intellectual jobs will vanish first, and labor jobs are harder to replace. Believe it or not, like the old trades, like plumbers and stuff like that. But this is a reality. We're in it now. It's going to escalate at exponential, and the word is exponential, like quantum leaps. Quantum leap means, folks, you're in situation A, and instead of doing a linear progression, all of a sudden you're in condition B. In this session, in this podcast, that's what happened to me in 2014. I was an unhappy man, poor as a church mouse in Georgia one day, and the next day I'm in Thailand. I don't know anybody. I don't speak Thai. I had no money. And then poof, I expand, everything just grew like this. That's all by grace. That's called a quantum leap. And the divine can do that for you. But all of this is, it's a big world. And within it, I work hand in hand with the divine, combined with or utilizing advanced applied quantum physics to change lives, heal you, lift your consciousness, all of those kinds of things.
Okay. Real quick, where can someone find you if they're trying to get a hold of you so that they can get some quantum healing of their own?
Yeah, I'd be happy to take care of you. So here's what I do, folks. I do privates, and privates are vertical dives. I do healing privates, and I also accept people if they want me to mentor them. And I mentor them according to whatever they need.
Gotcha.
You go to my website, depthhealing.org. Depth healing is one word. And I'm getting a new website designed right now as we speak. All of that will be changing. The name will be the same, depthhealing.org, but it's going to be really cool. And and then I do these other services. So at the end of next week, this week coming, twice a month, I do a collective. Collectives are only $50. And you get your little ticket, you go to the website and you register yourself, and there's only 100 people are allowed maximum. And during the collectives, I'm doing a big horizontal drive. It's morphic field physics. And that means I'm going to be able to capture the consciousness of the entire group relative to the question we're asking. And I'm going to do a healing and raise the consciousness of the entire group. I do that
Okay.
twice a month, and they're designed in an order so that by the end of the year, if you do all those, at the end of the year, you're a different person, living a different reality. And then once a month, following the full moon, I do a free event. It's called the Full Moon Seva. Seva means service.
Okay.
And that's also coming at the end of next week. So on your Wednesday, your Thursday evening is the collective. Your Friday evening is the full moon this time. Now in the full moon, very special. What you do is you handwrite 2 prayers. You write the prayer as a thank you letter to the divine for something that you want or need that's really important to you. And you bring that to the full moon ceremony. You do the ceremony in a sacred fashion. So that means you're bathed, nicely dressed, the room is clean and ordered, and then you just participate. What I do in there, I don't do any healing. I have empowerments through India, Tibet, and Japan. And this particular empowerment is through India. And I'm going to connect up with the divine. Then I'll be doing certain mantras and different things to call in blessing for you. And it's for the bigger the collective, the more power we have with the universe. The first prayer is personal. And at a certain point, I cue you in and you read that prayer out loud. And it will be answered by the divine. So you never throw away that prayer. And then I do a second part. And this next prayer is for the world or for your country. But it's for saving the planet, saving the animals, stopping the war, ending the suffering for the collective, for all of us. And because we're all gathered at the same time with the same intention, the universe will endorse our prayer. The bigger the group, the more power it has. So it's a solar event. The full moon acts as a amplifier. I tie in with my empowerment for the divine for you, and then you present, it's like you have a direct audience at a very high level for your prayers. So that's free. That's once a month. Everything is put on the website. If you want to find me on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, all you do is look up Depth Healing and you'll find me. And then it's always best when you want to see me, hook up with me on WhatsApp, and you should find the number, or if you want me to give you the number here, and I will take care of you. I do everything myself. There's nobody that acts as my aid. Everything comes through me directly for you. And I'll be very happy to take care of you.
Nice.
It'd be my pleasure. And if you look at my testimonials on the website, you'll find that I am the real deal. I have surgical accuracy. I don't care what the issue is. If it's something that is over my ability, the divine will take care of it for you.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. Let me get your number for WhatsApp up here real quick for anyone that needs it.
I can just barely hear you.
I was just getting your WhatsApp number up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's +66.
Yeah.
That's right.
356.
That's right.
Yep.
And then just connect with me right there. And then because of what I do is I talk to all my people almost always there. I also do my own special messages there and little videos there, all kinds of stuff.
Oh man, that's awesome. And that's awesome that you do a free little event after the full moon, because I think that full moons have a lot of really cool impact on the world, and we don't really treat it as such, you know.
It does. And by the way, if you can't make the collective time, if you go to YouTube, it'll be there. And as long as the moon is full and you do it in a sacred fashion, it has full power. Once the moon wanes, it doesn't have power anymore. So that one has a period where it's viable. When I do a collective, you have to be there. Because I'm not I don't want you to ever think I have any kind of power. Look, I'm a channel. I don't have any power. Power is a different thing. We call CD. And there are people, many years ago in the 1990s, I was a very serious Sufi, and I served directly under the Mufti of Cyprus. The Sheikh was passed away now. He was the real deal, and he had power. So when he wants the lights to turn on, he can wave his hand and all the lights turn on. If he wants them to shut off, just like in when you watch Yoda or you watch Harry Potter, he has power. I do not have any power. I am a channel. The trick is I'm a very accurate, surgically accurate professional channel. I'm not using intuition. I'm not using a psychic, nothing like that. I talk directly to your nervous system, to the realities that you are on whatever level, and I can do that with pinpoint precision, and that's the difference. And it's a big difference. It's not a guessing game.
Well, yeah, because whenever we're trying to better ourselves, a lot of the time people have issues with worry about other things falling apart that they don't want falling off whenever they better themselves. So is that kind of what you do? Make sure certain things don't fall off?
I can do that for sure. Absolutely. There's very little. That's why it's called depth healing. There's very little that I can't do. That's why I had to.
Gotcha.
When I look backwards, that's why my life had to travel the path it traveled under all the great masters that I studied with or were blessed to know, so that I can do these things, because it takes quite a bit to be able to do that. But that's why it's called depth healing. So whether it's a disease process or financial process, it doesn't matter. When I work with sports, I can maneuver the entire team in real time. Proved that with hockey teams in Georgia and Tennessee, Carolina, and the coaches. I have the testimonials. They contact me. I'm watching the game as it's being played, and I can influence the entire team and help them. So if they're falling down, I lift them up. If they're getting disorganized or upset, I remove it, and then they're back organized. And what I cannot do, ethically or otherwise, is influence the opponent. That's the realm of black magic and the dark side. I do not manipulate behavior. I help them, but I cannot do the other side. That's like Yoda said. Once down the dark path you start, forever will it control your destiny. You don't want to go there.
Fair enough. So, in some senses, you're saying that magic is real.
Extremely real. I have to help heal people, especially in Europe, from black magic all the time. Magic is very real. And I have, especially in the European, like Bulgaria, Serbia, and also in the Middle East, I have to heal people with the divine for black magic all the time. Very, very real. Curses are very real. One of my clients almost died in Egypt. Entered a tomb and entered the tomb in the wrong way, and they were hospitalized in Egypt for like 2 weeks, and all of them almost died. Yeah, you can't. The spiritual world is not something to play with. It's very, very real. Very real. You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's why it's good to find real masters.
That's for sure.
Not idiots. If you use plant medicines, I recommend against that with all my heart. Always remember, when you do something like that, if you're not in a secured space by someone who knows how to secure it, you're open to entities of all kinds. I've had to heal a lot of people who went there and then they came back with real problems. And the entities were hard to get rid of. So all of that is very real. It's the real deal. Here's the trick. You know, like when you watch a Harry Potter movie, sort of what they sort of show is those wizards and all them people, they have like a city, and they go through the wall and then they're in this other world.
Yeah.
Well, When I was under the gray shake in the 90s, when I was a young buck in my 30s, that was when I learned what that was, because he showed us. So when you get initiated into an actual spiritual group, the veil, you're on the other side of the veil. Normal life city people, they don't know anything about any of it. It's just like grace. On the light side, when you're with the divine, you start to see graces happening 24/7, all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, nothing would work without grace. Now, the dark side, if you go through the dark side veil, let's say there's a coven or a covenant that's a dark one. Well, then you're on the other side of the veil that people don't see that, but you're on that other side. When you're on the other side, you're exposed to the realities in that dimension or world. So if you're in the world of black magic and you don't know what you're doing, you can get yourself in real big trouble. If you enter the light side, is really nice, but there are a lot of fake, or like what Sri Bhagavan calls trash, a lot of nonsense, and it doesn't work. And then when they go to die, they will find out that none of that was real. But when you go in through the veil, so magic, there's the dark magic, there's the good magic, and all magic it's a set of laws that are higher laws than what the average guy is using or knows. Like, we all know the law of cause and effect, but there are higher laws. When the divine does miracles, I just had a miracle performed just in preparation for your podcast. I received soma. Soma means I have a glass of water. I ask the divine to turn it into soma. And from the other realms, from the other world, the divine makes the water into soma. And then you drink that. So how did I know that it's soma?
Okay.
I do a ceremony and I look at my glass and it fills up with bubbles. Water just fills up with bubbles. In India, where the power is greater, it might turn into honey, or it turns into like a beautiful milk.
Really?
It's happened. It happens every day for countless millions of people all over the world now. It's because they connect with the great compassionate light, and then you receive it. So when you drink the soma, you drink it relative to what you want to pray for. And the soma is directly from the divine, from another realm. So if you take the substance and you take it to labs, it doesn't belong to Earth at all, period. This is all real. In America there, you can look up soma events and you don't have to belong to anything. It's for the public. So you take a bottle of real good water and you go to the event and they will do a ceremony. They have a special facilitator. You will open the bottle and then many of the people will actually physically see the energy come down into the bottle. The bottle, some people, the smell of the water will change. Other people get full with bubbles. Some people won't see anything, but the soma is there. And then they will be instructed how to drink it. You never drink it from the bottle. You have to pour it into a separate glass. And then their life changes, or their health changes, or they're given whatever they ask for. So one of my clients is a agent for the movie stars in LA. COVID wiped out. They had a number of the actors stopped. There was
Writing
trouble.
guild or something?
Yeah, and she lost all her money, and she's scared to death. She's a middle-aged lady, no money.
Yeah.
Marriage was broken in half, and she has a child. She's very insecure. But she's also a beautiful woman and a real character. And she wanted to write a book about her life. I instructed her to go to a soma event, and she did it. And she said that during the event, she saw the pitcher like come alive and come right to her and blessed her water, something of that nature. She drank that water, and a huge production company picked up her book. They're producing it. It's being written, and her future is all secured. And it blew her mind. Just blew her mind. Come right up out of nowhere.
Wow.
Because of soma. So that's a miracle. How do miracles happen? Those are extra high laws that are known to the divine. That's how they create a miracle. So when Moses was saved, when the sea parts, Those are miracles being done by the divine using law. So it's all by law. Magic is law, but it's conditioned by intention, and the dark side is one kind and the light is another.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Very important to understand. And the dark side is more seductive and it's easier. Much easier.
Here's a question then, real quick. So, divination, so such as tarot, runes, pendulums, those kind of things to help divine. I've heard that those are technically black magic, but in my personal belief, I don't believe so.
No, that's a bunch of nonsense. Okay. It's only black magic if it's a black magic person divining from the dark side. And the tarot, things like tarot, astrology, numerology are the real deal. It's completely dependent on the consciousness level of the reader. So I follow, I have one man that I follow and I take counsel about every 4 months and have for years now. He's never wrong. Joshua Siegel. Joshua Siegel lives in LA, and he's, as far as I'm concerned, I have never known him to ever be wrong. He's a true master of Vedic astrology and a true master of numerology. And I counsel with him. He's in Europe right now. I just talked to him yesterday, and he's getting back on the 16th, and I'm going to have another reading for myself. The reason for that is Joshua is a real master. I know a master of numerology that's Thai. I was introduced to her recently. Phenomenal lady. Her name is Floyd, and she's absolutely accurate. I have a tarot card buddy of mine who's very high level in England, named Mark Carlson, and you can find Mark on you just go to YouTube. If you want to find Joshua Siegel, tell him I sent you. Dr. G sent you. His email is screenplay screenplay, so SCREEN PL play APLAYA at gmail.com. Screenplay, and that's Joshua Siegel's email. Joshua, whatever he tells you, you can take to the bank. In 4 years, I've never known him to be wrong once. Not once. Wow. I've never seen a guy so accurate. But if you had a numerologist that was working for the devil, then it's the dark side. But otherwise, that kind of stuff where they say that's nonsense. Just nonsense.
Well, I'm glad to hear that someone such as you has that same line of thinking and actually has people to back up that same kind of thinking.
Oh, you betcha. And it's very, 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 very real. Avatars are real. All of it. All those things are real. If it's not real, what isn't real is where people say, I'm going to ascend into the fifth dimension. I'll tell you something. If you see somebody ascend into the fifth dimension, you tell me, I'm going to buy them a beer. When I see somebody or I ever hear anybody do that, good luck. As Bhagavan would say, best of luck to you. Best of luck. That kind of stuff is, for me, is not nonsense. Sucking on a weed to try to raise your consciousness. I've done shamanic travel. I do whatever I do. I don't. When Jesus wants to tell his apostles what to do, he doesn't suck on some plants. If Buddha is giving a lecture, he doesn't suck on some plants. If there's no such thing as any enlightened great master. Before the Dalai Lama gives a talk at his headquarters, I forgot what it's called in Tibet, he doesn't suck on any weeds. Nobody does. That is a shortcut. You might get some kind of insight. You might also get possessed by an entity. You might have a lot of insights that are complete nonsense because you have altered your brain chemistry externally. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're asking Dr. G. Rex Kruhly, that is garbage. If you want spiritual enlightenment or you want to have the answer from the divine, talk to the divine. Cultivate spiritual life and you will advance. cultivate weeds. You know, when you go to die, you will have to go in front of the great compassionate light. You will not go in front of a bunch of weeds. So the weeds will not follow you into the next life. Got nothing to do with nothing. It's a nothing. Spiritual life. And you're going to die, and you have to go in front of the great compassionate light for your light review of your life. So you see your whole life, but you see it in reverse order. So you see it and experience it from the perspective of the victim or your friend or the animal you killed or whatever. You experience that. And then you're going to judge yourself. And depending on how you judge yourself and your level of consciousness then, which the weeds will not advance, you're going to either go to hell or you're going to go into the light. And there are 21 there are 21 levels. So the weeds won't help you there. It's got nothing to do with anything, you know. That is a state, folks. When you take the weed, you get a state, and then it all just goes back, because those weeds will not change cognitive dissonance. It won't change programming. It'll give you an insight, like a view, but that's all. That's all.
Yeah.
That's very important to understand.
If you're going to just you can't just sit there. If you get an insight, then you're supposed to do something about it. So essentially, it's like you're looking outside of a window instead of actually going and exploring the scenery for yourself.
No, because the way the subconscious to conscious brain is wired, subconscious mind to the conscious brain that you're going to look through the window with is a 1 to 1 million ratio, and that ratio is the game changer. So when you have a vision, it's like a guy that goes to Tony Robbins and he gets all hyped up. He's a smart man, got a PhD, he's an entrepreneur. He goes to Tony Robbins, he gets all fired up. But in his subconscious from his dad, he has programming that says, you will never succeed. The programming from dad when he was 3 years old or 6 years old has 1 million times more power than the cognitive plan. And then when he goes to execute, I lived this for 30 years. It's a very frustrating thing. You have all the plans, you start and it never works. And you say, why the hell doesn't anything work? I'm trying, I got all, it doesn't work, but it works for Mr. So-and-so over here. How come? Well, Mr. So-and-so over there, he doesn't have cognitive dissonance to that. So his subconscious mind endorses his course of action. So it works. You have to remove the cognitive dissonance. So when these guys go to their ceremonies, the guy that's running the ceremony is getting rich. They're crawling around on the floor throwing up, and the guy says, well, you're doing spiritual purging. No. That's all nonsense. What happens if you were to run your tongue on the floor? There's a good chance you'll throw up. Why? Because toxins just got coated on your tongue, so your body says throw up. When you take that crap, your body says, I don't want this. And it throws up, and then the guru says, oh, you're cleaning years and years. No. All you're doing is the biologic functions. You just got crap in your mouth, and it wants to get it the hell out of there. That's what. And then if there's any kind of healing, that's just placebo. Placebo accounts for 3/4 of all medical healing in hospitals. 3/4. It's all placebo. That's all that plant is doing. It's just nonsense. So they see something, right? They get this big insight. Oh, wow. I'm destined to do this. And if they don't have cognitive dissonance, good. But most of them have cognitive dissonance. Most of us didn't receive the greatest programming from mom, dad, and society. So there's an ocean of entangled negative programming that has to be overcome. That's my specialty. I go in, I will surgically find the specific cognitive dissonance blocking you, and I will disintegrate it. I disintegrate it completely using destructive interference waves that are specifically matched by resonance to the download that you got when you were 3 years old. And I remove them all in a chain so that until the age of 7, what I'm doing is I remove the foundation of all programming and their entanglements that are supporting the problem you have now. Then we come up to the present day at the age you are and ask, in my field, on any level, is there an active program creating or supporting my limitation that's blocking me? We get a yes, we disassemble it and disintegrate it. We shut it off. And as I'm doing that process, your brain is adjusting and reorganizing in real time. And because the brain has reorganized and those negative programs are gone, your perception changes. When your perception changes, your frequency changes. Your frequency is your inner frequency gives you your outer life. So the universe is being reorganized relative to you, for you. And that is how you change your life. You won't change it with some weeds. I call them weeds to be sarcastic. But that it's just because I'm a sarcastic guy. But that's all it is to me. It's so worthless.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Real spirituality is real.
Man.
And change is real. Growth is real. As your consciousness raises, your view will automatically change. And because it's not relative to a weed, your view will stay changed. With the weed, it'll go up and then it's going to drop. It'll go up and then it's going to drop. See what I mean?
That would make sense. Yep. Yeah. So it puts you into that state to where you're able to receive it, but it doesn't actually like implement it, integrate it into your own psyche in a sense to where whenever the external factor fades, so does whatever good stuff came with it.
You got it,
Keegan.
That's a very good way to explain that. That's exactly right. That's why, meditation people, they always face the issue also, except that meditation is really, it's excellent. But let's say you go to a Vipassana retreat. So when you go into a retreat, what does a retreat do? It limits sensory input and makes everything is reduced down, very simple, basic, intrinsic life in order for the mind to quiet so you can see that thoughts are coming and going and you can recognize that the thoughts don't belong to you. So that the disassociation, you start to understand that thoughts are a field and they're coming and going and you have no control over that. When that happens, the consciousness of the meditation person raises. Now the problem that they face is as soon as they're leaving the retreat to re-enter the world or their job, we have approximately 11 million sensory receptors physically on our body. 10 million of them are associated to your eyes. So when you are re-entering the world from the retreat, everything you see, you're taking in 40 million bits of information per second with your eyes. Only 40 bits of information are selected that reach your consciousness. And those are basically allotted, if you want to believe that the excellent researcher Joe Dispenza, are on the environment, time, and your body. So they leave the Vipassana retreat. They're in a very calm, centered state. And they see a person, which triggers a subconscious program. They smell something, triggers another one. And the re-entry is the issue. Now, with the weeds, it's way stronger because they go into an altered state. They've changed their brain chemistry with a psychedelic, no less. They're in la-la land. And then when it goes away, their girlfriend still hates them. They still got to pay the mortgage. They don't have a job. And their right foot still hurts. And the weed is gone. Understand what I mean? Yeah. So when you go to die, the number one thing to focus on. Have you ever seen someone die? Have you ever been at the bedside of somebody you love or whatever, and you watch them die. The big time.
Not.
Now, I suppose if you want to lay on the bed, if you have
Yeah.
the ability, you can take some weeds and then,
Mm.
but when you go on the other side, the weeds don't come with you. So
Yeah.
the trick is, like karma, for instance. Karma is a very complex thing. There is geophysical karma, the karma of your city, your neighborhood, the people who built the house you live in or the apartment. There's your karma. There's it's nonstop, eh? That's going to go with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So the weeds won't have anything to do with your karma. That doesn't have anything to do with it at all, unless you do something really terrible or ugly while you're under the influence of the. If you do something really nice, that'll follow you. That's all that. But how long can you stay under the influence of the weeds?
Not forever.
I have no idea, because I will never experience the weeds. I couldn't care less about drugs any more than I care about a fly in Alaska.
Yeah.
What I in my case, what I do is experience real Zen. I experience real suffering when I get hurt. I apprentice under real doctors. I learn what it means to have a broken heart from experiencing a broken heart. And I make a relationship with the divine that's a real divine. I put a gourmet cinnamon bun on my altar, and they ate it. I woke up the next morning. My altar room is a locked room. Upstairs, I live alone. When I opened the door, they had eaten the entire cinnamon bun. They do that for thousands of people.
Wow.
Some of them they just take a bite out of, or they'll drink what you offer. The divine is real, and you don't need a weed to talk to the divine. Okay? And I just want to say it because thousands of people do that. It's a shortcut, and it's mostly an illusion and placebo.
Gotcha. Well, and placebo.
Got it. The healing part,
real quick,
is largely placebo. Yes. What else, Keegan?
Okay. Well, I was just going to say this has been an immensely awesome conversation. And I can already see that we have a lot more rabbit holes to go down, and I have a whole bunch of questions. But we are over time for this episode.
I would be very, very honored. Yeah. I really like you a lot, and I'll be very happy to come on your show anytime.
Awesome. That is really good to hear, because I've got so many questions to ask, and that's just the thing. Like you said, if we could talk for 6 hours, we totally would. Next time, whenever we set up our conversation, we'll try to make sure that we schedule for like 2 or 3 hours, because I can just talk to you all day.
Sure. I would love that so much.
All right. Sounds good to me. All right.
Well,
but everyone out there, I was just going to say, everyone out there, make sure that y'all stop by depthhealing.org if you want to visit his website, so you can figure out everything that he can help you figure out and surgically remove those quantum blockages from you and improve your life. So, I mean, I've learned a whole lot here today, and I know that I am going to implement as much as I can into this from this conversation into my daily practices in life now. So I got to say thank you, Dr. G, for being on.
You're welcome.
But man, is there anything that you'd like to leave? Is there anything you'd like to leave with the audience for tonight?
Yeah, of all the things, folks, try to go ahead and design a personality or a persona for your divine, and then start to cultivate your relationship with the divine. And because what will happen as the bond gets stronger, the divine will guide you, help you heal, just everything. And this is very, very real. And if you want to know how real it is, or how to get really connected like that, just get a hold of me on WhatsApp, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you, or see me privately. This stuff is a reality for millions now. The golden age has begun. There is an epicenter of 300 people who have reached exalted states of consciousness. So that's an epicenter. And then Kali Yuga is winding down. Kali Yuga ends with calamities. So if you look at the ring of fire, it's activating. There are volcanoes. There's so many different kinds of things happen. That's Kali Yuga winding down. Kali Yuga is known as the Iron Age. It's the worst age.
Okay.
And it was about 250,000 years. The Golden Age is starting, and the Golden Age is linked up with AI. It's a very complicated. It's complicated. So make your relationship with the divine and start to cultivate your inner life. Inner life. If you don't know what inner life is, get a hold of me. I'll help you figure it out.
Alrighty. Well, Dr. G, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure having you on, and I cannot wait for our next conversation because it is going to be so amazing.
Thank you. You know what, Keegan, I'm looking forward to it too. 2025 is a super critical year. We've got 5 months left in this year. It's super critical to get into 2026. You think of about, I'm hoping 3 to 5 years before AI is so big that it's blanketed everything. So we got a good period here. We could do some real interesting stuff together. I hope you were able to hear that.
Sounds like it, and sure did. I know that we've got some latency stuff going on. You're over there in Thailand. I'm over here in Texas. So at least we got the tea going together.
Hey, you're in Texas?
Everyone out there? Yes, sir.
Where in Texas?
In the DFW area, over in Garland.
Because I became a doctor in Texas, and then I was licensed in Georgia and Tennessee. I married a Texan. I lived in my favorite city is not Houston. I graduated out of Houston, Dallas. Man, I love Dallas. I met my ex-wife there, and I just love that city, man. I love Texans.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, there you go.
That's so cool.
Everyone out there, thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. This has been Dr. G and Keegan, and we will see y'all next week. So, have a good day. Shalom.
Bye for now.